So recently I heard a lot of people talking about this video from Nikandros concerning Nux Taku, and I haven't watched it. I don't know much about it outside of it concerning his Discord, and as it says right here, this is more than likely going to be a part 1 of a multi-part series going into this guy. Wonder if there's a... Nope, part 2 is not out yet, so who knows. But anyways, I've heard people talk about this, it essentially being a big call out video for Nux for something that happened on his Discord, and I wanted to check it out. Now, here's the thing. I used to be a Nux Taku fan. However, over time, I just kind of lost interest in him. It was nothing that he particularly did. This was just during a time where I was really into anime. I was watching a lot of anime YouTubers. This is when I got into people like Gigug, the anime man. There was like 2 guys that Nux did a podcast with that I also watched their content of, but I can't remember right now. But I used to be a Nux Taku fan. However, I never was a big Nux Taku fan. I watched a good chunk of his videos, but not a lot of the older stuff that I have been hearing about concerning like a lot of his older content that led to this. And I definitely have not been watching his recent content because in the last few years or so, he has weirdly enough decided to make a political turn out of nowhere. And it's very clear that he has no idea what he's talking about. I think it has to do with, post October 7th, entering that. Apparently he is Israeli, so that probably played a part into it. But he's been going after the same leftist YouTube targets that a lot of the worst people online have been going after, like Ethan Klein, Tectone, going after people like Denims, Hassan, Frogan. It's cheap content. It's just lazy. It's just awful, and he very clearly has no idea what he's actually talking about. And it's also very clickbaity too. Like, who knows, maybe he changed it because I haven't paid attention to him in like a long time now. But all of his videos at a certain point were just like, oh, he's done for sure. Oh, he's 100% done. He's like 1000% done, or something like that. It was just trying to be memey while also just farming drama content. It sucked. So anyways, that's enough of me talking. We might as well get into the video and see what's up.
Welcome, I'm Nikandros. This is Tectone, a guy who used to follow 900 hentai accounts on Twitter. When likes were still public, people found out that Tectone had liked an animation depicting a Genshin Impact character called Venti getting their back door blown wide open by a BB Hilichurl C. For context, Venti is an effeminate male character with the body of a 15-year-old boy. So Tectone has a history of it to gay porn involving 15-year-old boys. This is more speculative, but photographic evidence suggests that Tectone lives by the slogan, "He who beats it, eats it." In case you don't know what that means, now you might be disgusted by this, but given Tectone's physiology, that's actually a very impressive feat.
Is that all?
Me when I show her my penis. I'm 6'8". I don't know why I would lie about that. My penis isn't that small where I feel the need to lie about my... But I'm 6'8". I'm 6'8". I'm 6'8". Are you 6'8"? I'm 6'8". 6'7". I'm 6'6". I'm 6'7". I'm 6'7". 6'6" men BMI.
Now, for reference, I'm 6'7". I've sometimes claimed to be 200 and sometimes 201 centimeters, but I've never claimed to be 2 whole inches taller. You might say that lying about 2 inches is not a big deal, but to some people, that's all they've got.
Thankfully, I have a very small cock.
Tectone was recently served a 10-year protective order to stay at least 200 yards away from his ex-girlfriend Pinkichu for sexually
We talked about that last time, which was fucking crazy. Literally while I was editing that video where I reacted to another YouTuber's video regarding Tectone, this video came out, and this video is probably going to be very late from the time it actually came out too, because by the time I'm reacting to this, it came out 10 days ago. It's very crazy how like the worst people online, like back to back, had just been getting annihilated and, exposed. Because before this, there was that dude, I think his name is Lakari. He's like a friend of Tectone and Asmongold's, who got caught essentially having a notes app that had like CSAM listed on it, or I don't know, like it was weird shit. I didn't cover it, but I remember like hearing about it, and it was like just fucking gross. But then after that, the case with Tectone got revealed, and then this. So just not a great year for the worst people on the internet.
Assaulting and stalking her. He's also been forced to give up all of his guns. Before this all came out, he also had some really deep thoughts.
The more
Here's the thing, that's what's crazy too, is that like there's a comment on that Tectone video of like my reaction to the Tectone video of someone being like, oh, this is just drama farming without, you know, any conclusive evidence, and like he lost. What do you mean he lost? He's not allowed to own firearms in Texas because he lost that case. Do you know how rare it is to lose a case so bad that you're no longer able to own firearms for that long of a time too? Because I believe it's like 10 years in Texas of all places.
Are aware of what's going on in the world, the more that you are aware of these people that are lying, the more that these people will try to discredit the people telling the truth. I mean, I want you to look at Nux Taku for an example.
Now, I found out about Nux Taku around the time of his Shadman controversy, and because of some drama between Mutaha and someone called Shadlogic. It's a complicated story.
Nux Taku got his entire career temporarily destroyed, which he bounced back from because he's one of the GOATs. God bless you, Nux.
Yes, the post-Nux Clarity incident.
So this video that was uploaded with, again, Nux Taku as Jeffrey Epstein and me as, I assume, Ghislaine Maxwell over here.
Since then, Nux Taku has re-established himself as one of many populistic right-wing commentators, such as Tectone himself, who tried to orbit Asmongold.
Is really like, I mean, this part right here, right? And then there's this, and then there's a little bit of that too.
I was apparently recently hired as Asmongold's thumbnail editor.
Why wasn't Asmongold nominated at the Streamer Awards? And it's me holding up a fucking thing of I'm white, you're black, and I'm pointing a gun at somebody? Damn, bro, like that's what it was. This is a top tier thumbnail? I think it is. Honestly, like we should have just used this one. Oh my God. Hire this guy? Yeah. Yeah, this is great. Thumbnail editor. This is great.
Thumbnail
yeah, why not?
My response was not the most charismatic one.
Does it? Hold on.
Response was not the most charismatic one.
These ideas don't come to me on a consistent basis, but it would be fun to try. Yeah, come on, dude. Just drink the right-wing Kool-Aid. Drink the Roach Kool-Aid, alright? Just accept it. And take the job. You know what? Get the bag. Get the bag, King.
He intended to hire me. That was merely a stunt he did for his livestream. Given his recent defending of Tectone, it was probably for the best. As a Forbes magazine featured commentator,
it's always so funny. The guy who always has something to say, considering like literally everything online, especially when it comes to people he sees as his enemies, he has everything to say. He won't shut up, actually. It's like his biggest problem is that he just won't shut up sometimes. However, when it comes to people who are friends of his, who, you know, ride his coattails, you know, who support him or ride or dies, well then, when they're going through some controversies, they have no idea what's going on. They're not paying attention. They don't want to speak about it. Just sick, man. Really shows how much of a backbone that you got, that you will jump on any controversy if it's surrounding people that you deem to be your enemies. But when your friends are rightfully getting called out for the shitty stuff that they're doing, you got nothing. You're just like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna wait.
Associating with people like this. However, this video isn't about Asmongold or Tectone. It's about the rumors circulating Nux Taku.
The amount of misinformation put out on this guy is insane. I mean, dude, I get told that Nux is a pedophile daily. And I'm like, brother, what the fuck are you talking? Nux has always been good to me, and I'm a guy who's always gonna have the back of my friends. However, I will also be the first guy to hold my friends accountable.
We'll see about that. But why would anyone say?
Sure, bud. Sure. That's, you know, if there's one thing I know about Tectone, is that he loves accountability. He loves it. You know, this man always holds himself accountable. Actually, wait, no, he doesn't. But he definitely holds his friends accountable, and we'll definitely see that here, right? We'll see.
But Nux Taku after children. I have my own criticisms of the guy, but he's a very religious man.
We got to stand up and fight for God. We were living in a world of like unbelievable.
Saying that, well, having a VTuber model that's like a Sans Red X mishmash character that apparently he stole from an artist from what I heard, is insane.
Hedonism that just kept ramping up higher and higher and higher, you know? Higher and higher, more and more hedonism. And
Hedonism? Dude, if there's one thing I know about Nux content from back in the day, is even though I never saw any of his like very explicit stuff covering, you know, like hentai, which I heard some people talk about concerning this, like, oh, he has like old videos concerning, you know, hentai and shit like that. He would make all sorts of like, you know, edgy or like hentai related jokes in his videos. You can't be saying like, oh, everyone's like fallen into hedonism, everyone's like a degenerate nowadays, when you have like, you very much have acted in that same way. Like, unless you're willing to recognize it. But my guess is that this video isn't going to cover him being like, yeah, I contributed to this.
secularism, and it completely took over, and this is an unbelievable conversation that's being had right now.
He speaks out against hedonism and degeneracy.
It's not surprising that people that are based purely on hedonism, that they think you could fuck everything that moves, they think that sex should be publicized and taught to little babies and children.
I mean, look, I already know what like the very core element of this whole video is, because I have seen people talk about it on Twitter, like I said before. It is so funny that this is what he says leading into the video of like, especially with like, again, the past, like, even if it's just jokes, like, at the end of the day, are you not aware of like how you might have played a part into this?
Teaching them to change their genders and shit like that.
He's against sex being taught to young children and little babies. He hasn't always been open about his religious beliefs, but he has a long history of criticizing
he wasn't open about it until it became financially beneficial for him.
the Twitch platform for making adult content available to minors.
Twitch can't decide whether they want to be a 13+ gaming website or an 18+ porn website. Twitch wants to rake in.
Oh fuck, this just made me remember the fucking stupid ass song he made. The Twitch song, like, it was a Billie Eilish parody. Okay, so this is a re-upload of the music video, I guess.
So you're a Twitch thought, nasty greedy witch thought, tier 3 grabbing bitch thought, pimping out your sim thought. I'm the Chad type, Barry Poggers mad type, Monka is mad lad type, epic clapping rad type, Twitch is hentai. Duh.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, fucking, that's what that just made me think of when he said that Twitch is a porn site at this point. Like, dude, if you think Twitch is a porn site just because it allows like hot tub streams or whatever, I don't know even what to say. Like it's such a weird hill to die on. That's the thing. It's such a weird hill to die on to be like, no hot tub streams on Twitch when there's already like an 18+ system in place for that. And obviously, you know, it's very easy to get around it, but at the end of the day, like, who gives a fuck? It's such a non-issue. I don't honestly care. And I don't think anyone should. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, they're not explicitly showing anyone, like, fucking each other. So who gives a shit? You know, it's not like fucking Kick, which allowed multiple streamers to get away with that, and to get away with circulating CP on while using their platform.
In all that advertiser bucks for being a 13+ gaming website. They want to be on every single freaking smart television in America because that's how they get so many of their little young impressionable viewers. They are trying to be a 13+ gaming website as well as a porn site at the same exact fucking time. Just recently, you had the implied nudity meta on Twitch where they allowed artistic nudity, which is, again, still mind-blowing to me that they even thought this was a good idea on a 13+ gaming website, by the way.
Making adult content available to children is totally inappropriate, and Nux Taku has known this for a while.
Hentai ain't for kids under 18, let alone under 13.
Some insist that it is solely the parents' responsibility to stop their children from seeing that stuff. End of story. I think that's a very dumb perspective, so I'm going to back up Nux Taku on this one. Parents do have the primary responsibility to protect their children, but that responsibility isn't on them alone. If you're publishing content on a 13+ website, the creators, the parents, and the platform have a shared responsibility to protect the children using that site from being exposed to harmful content. In the case of Twitch, the creators are knowingly streaming inappropriate content, and Twitch isn't cracking down on it. As Nux Taku clearly understands, it is supposed to be a 13+ platform. If you're allowing or uploading adult content onto that platform, you're clearly doing something wrong and should be held responsible if kids come across that content. Parents can easily block actual adult websites, and some even teach you how to do it. But when adult content is hidden on a 13+ website, the parents might not even suspect it to be there. Take for example, Mutahar's aunt.
Here's the
I mean, it's a complicated issue for sure of like, whose responsibility is it? It should be both, but at the end of the day, we are seeing it happen in the worst way possible with like Discord, where it's like, oh, in order to use the 18 plus functions, you need to give us your like ID or something. Despite the fact that Discord can already figure out how old you really are via data from other websites. Like they don't need a like actual like picture of your ID. It's just a dumb way to like get around the system. And that's been something that people have been shouting about since like this announcement with Discord. And at the end of the day, I do think it is both. Like I think it's the platform responsibility to make sure it can protect young guys from seeing inappropriate stuff. And yeah, with Twitch, yeah, they could definitely do more. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, also, yeah, parents should take responsibility for that too. And I think at least like 50% of the problem is parents just refusing to actually parent their kids. Like, I mean, iPad babies are a thing for a reason because they were just like, here's a screen, pay attention to this. And I think on some level that is just your responsibility. On another level, I kind of get it because of how like busy everyone is nowadays with how much, especially with how much they make you work, having to deal with that and a kid, I can understand on some level. It's, again, a complicated issue. So I'm not going to go too much into it because that's not what this video is supposed to be about. But again, yeah, it's more mature and they could definitely do things to work around it to make sure that people who aren't 18 don't see that sort of content. But again, to me, it's just such a non-issue out of the gate.
the fucking wildest thing about her, okay? So she has every fucking parental filter. If you walk into her house, it's like fucking North Korea. However, she hasn't done anything for YouTube. She hasn't looked at parental controls. So in her mind, she's like, I'm a good parent. I'm making sure they don't watch porn. And then their kids are watching like Andrew Tate and shit. So she's blocked this one possibly dangerous avenue of like, psych infiltrating shit. But she hasn't locked the other one out.
Instead of telling his aunt to set up parental controls on YouTube, Mutahar decided to shit-talk her parenting on his massive podcast.
Yeah.
Very normal behavior. So when adult content is on an adult website, it's easily blocked. When it's on Twitch or YouTube...
Let me tell you, if I learned that my nephew was watching Andrew Tate, first of all, I don't know if that would actually really happen because despite the fact that my family is pretty conservative, I know they don't like him, which I'm so glad for. I'll take that win. But like, I would immediately be like, yo, you gotta make sure that he's only on like YouTube Kids or something like that. You gotta make sure he doesn't see that stuff, or else he'll turn out to be a loser. And I would say the exact same thing if he was watching Nux Taku videos. Even though they would probably agree more with that, they would just find the avatar weird.
YouTube, it can go unnoticed, and in the worst cases, subvert those
I'll
parental
just be like,
controls.
the avatar is gonna turn him gay. You gotta turn it off. If he sees all these anime characters, it will turn him gay.
That's why it's important for creators on these platforms to keep in mind that their content is going to be available to and be seen by children. As an example, you shouldn't have a hentai reviewer on your podcast and then shout them out by pitching their content as a method to circumvent parental controls.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check out our friend Hartweigen, friend of the show, absolutely amazing creator. If you're into hentai and you want to, and you got parental filters all over your web browser, this is the channel for you because YouTube is not blocked by parental filters. So wink, wink on that.
Before you run off calling Mutahar some early porn introduction mogul, this is just a single, irresponsible one-off comment from years ago. It was a dumb thing to say, but there is no broad pattern of Mutahar engaging in this behavior. To return to Nux's critique of Twitch, another problem with adult content being on a 13+ website is its potential to funnel children to adult websites and services.
Every single freaking ASMR streamer on Twitch is linking their OnlyFans because ultimately Twitch is a massive funnel to that stuff, and Twitch knows that. Most of Twitch these days is a literal funnel to OnlyFans. Remember, this is a 13+ gaming website where 90% of just chatting streams are boobs, funneling people to the OnlyFans of the streamers, because it's not like there's any
I wonder where you got that statistic from.
discoverability on OnlyFans. And the recommended page and every thumbnail on the just chatting category would be banned on YouTube. Bro, do you see what's going on your website, bro? This shit would be banned on YouTube immediately.
I'm not too sure about that last bit, but if a creator's content is directing children to adult websites, making it more available and accessible to them, they are more likely to not only seek out that content, but also...
Okay, here's something that I do hate about this discourse, is that it automatically makes it seem like these creators are trying to get children. Like, every single one of these like adult creators are like, oh yeah, I hope a kid enters in the stream. It's so weird.
Also far more extreme content than they otherwise would have. Nux Taku, on the other hand, has been criticizing Twitch for allowing this content since the creation of the hot tubs category.
The new Twitch meta, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't need to see it for in her browser history. If you look up PONR, her stream is PONR. Bruh.
It's just so noisy.
Bruh. It's unbelievable that this content is allowed.
In February 2021, he released a whole song about it.
I made a music video parody of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy. When the Twitch hot tub meta was going on, all the top streamers were female streamers in hot tubs wearing nothing. And I made a music video parody, Twitch is hentai.
Twitch is hentai. Twitch thoughts giving teens bloody no sleep.
Damn, a great message and a banger tune. There is just one big problem I have with Nux's critique here. He left out the most dangerous element of this kind of content. Any child can see bikini ladies on the beach or at the pool, but they're not going to see bikini ladies doing erotic dances while surrounded by adult strangers who are touching themselves while chatting with them. They are also not going to receive private messages or invitations to join a private group chat where a much older person showers them with attention and makes them feel special. Creators don't just put out content, they have a community, whether it's in their comments or on other platforms. If the creator's content is explicit in nature, then so will their community. If children are allowed into these spaces, the creator is facilitating.
They're actually really important rules to have on any Discord server with a focus on adult content. Okay, so yeah, like Morpie, very Discord, very simple, no NSFW, absolutely no porn, sexting, or nudity allowed. 18 plus server, if you are under 18, you are not allowed here.
A space where adults and minors are talking about explicit matters with each other. Even if there are no predators in those spaces, if minors are allowed access, they are still being normalized to the idea that it's okay for them to be talking about these things with random adults, making them much more vulnerable. Nux Taku has actually made videos in the past catfishing predators on Discord, but his activism doesn't end there. In 2021, he tried to trick Shadman, the infamous lolicon artist, into a confrontation to grill them for drawing lolly-beast comics. Wanna collab? Lamau, no, but your heart's in the right place. Wait, why would Shadman say that? Anyway, these statements and instances where Nux Taku actually mocked messages he received from Shadman have been misconstrued by bad faith actors to claim that Nux Taku had some connection with Shadman or a desire to work with him. I mean, look at the timeline. We're supposed to believe that 3 days after catfishing predators, Nux Taku was trying to get on Shadman's good side. It is such easily debunkable nonsense. This whole controversy was just an offshoot of the early Mr. Beast drama, when Ava Chris Tyson's fandom of Shadman was exposed. Nux Taku was among the people calling her out on it, but also for running a Discord server where NSFW content was available to minors. Despite his consistent, long-term opposition to children being exposed to adult content, and criticism of multiple creators who have blurred the line between adults and children, Nux Taku continues to be smeared as some kind of because of his old videos.
My videos were showing people weird shit that came out of Japan to get funny reactions. And I, to this day, do not think that they were harmful videos. I don't.
It really isn't necessary, but let's take a look at one of those examples. If we go to May of 2021, a couple months after releasing the song about Twitch, and a few months before the Shadman collab request, he released this video. It's about Nux Taku reviewing the old comics made by the author of the Nagatoro manga. It's a romantic comedy about the titular Nagatoro, a high school junior. I know a little trick for looking up the old thumbnails of videos on the Internet Archive, and the thumbnail of this video used to look like this. Nagatoro taking off her panties. This isn't the second version. This is the third version. Here is the second version. Nagatoro completely naked, and there's some kind of a chimpanzee behind her.
But she's sitting here in the forest, and all of a sudden Monkey comes out and starts.
That's a lot of monkey hands. Jesus Christ.
God damn it. And then they proceed to okay, anyway. She ends up having an epiphany that In order to survive, she must drink fluids. So she proceeds
Okay.
to drink
Yeah.
fluids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. That's why she's like, go as much as you want because
You can dish out there. Okay.
Yeah, she needs to drink it to survive. This is survival instincts. Boom. They were in fact not in the forest. She was in fact with the monkeys in a zoo in front of a whole bunch of people. Crowd of people? No, an audience? Is this a zoo? They saw all of it? The mating act? This is the worst image in the history of
why would the monkey bring it up? That's so weird.
So she pushes the shock collar that she happens to be wearing.
Oh, they put her on a shot? What the fuck?
To force her to do the friendship show.
So she's a slave.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. And then she had
Just a reminder, this is the guy who apparently now is complaining about, hedonism and shit like and about how, all these, essentially what he's trying to say is that like all these queer trans people are trying to like teach your kids about sex. This is the videos this guy used to make, and he thinks he has a fucking leg to stand on. Jesus Christ.
has to dance like monkey.
Nux Taku is displaying a comic to his audience about a little girl being raped by a pack of monkeys in a zoo exhibit before a crowd of children. The censorship is at times very lacking. There's lots of fluids and even monkey cocks visible on screen. Not only did Nux Taku show that, he's displaying multiple adult websites and shows the names of all the comics, making it easy for the audience members to look them up for themselves.
Lolicon. Oh, it hurts so.
What? It's got 69.
There's 69,000 Lolicon manga on here.
69,000. No big
What the
deal,
most
right?
popular.
This is far worse than anything I've seen on Twitch. How is this sponsored by Raycon? Wasn't Nux Taku supposed to confront Shadman for this stuff? I thought he was against hedonism and degeneracy. The video was also not age restricted, meaning that he made it visible to his own crowd of children. And the comment section had many children on it. Some of them were asking for Nux Taku to reduce the censorship, and others were asking for the source of these adult comics. When I say children, I'm not just making a blind guess. Many of these children had videos of themselves on their channel. So while Nux Taku was railing against Twitch for letting children see bikini ladies, he was uploading content.
So it's not even a recent turn. Like, it's literally yelling at Twitch for being like, hey, how dare you have women in bikinis on your platform, then only to turn around and be like, hey guys, check out this fucking underage fucking what the fuck?
And like this, with thumbnails like this, to a 13+ website.
Which is, again, still mind-blowing to me that they even thought this was a good idea on a 13+ gaming website, by the way.
And nowadays he presents himself as this fighter for God and this opponent of degeneracy and hedonism. This video isn't publicly available anymore because I tweeted a link to it around the time of the post-Nux Clarity incident. It used to embed on the tweet, but now it no longer does, because within 30 minutes of me tweeting it, the video was set to private. There was no apology or explanation, only an attempt to hide evidence of one's past, which in itself became evidence of a guilty mind. I have never seen anyone post the kind of content Nux Taku did on a regular basis and not get banned. Not only hasn't he been banned, until recently, he was hanging out with massive, well-respected creators. He might be one of the most underlooked and worst cases of such a high-profile creator, profiting from exposing children to adult content, directing them to adult websites, and running their communities with a total disregard for child safety. Nowadays he pretends that none of this ever happened. He downplays it, lies about it, and deletes evidence of it. Let's start from the beginning. Nux Taku started out as an anime YouTuber in 2015. He grew slowly and steadily, but in late 2019, everything changed. Jeffrey Epstein died in prison. Excuse me, 2 weeks after that.
I also made a video on YouTube that has since been removed, the biggest flexes in hentai. And the degeneracy began from there.
In the video, Nux Taku reviews and recommends 10 hentai animations, 7 of which were categorized as lolly, meaning they contained underage characters.
And this bad boy, very not chill stepfather, has
I think this is actually I'm gonna be honest. I think this was, if it was like 2019, it might have been 2018 when I stopped watching it. Because I think that's just when I kind of fell off of like, not anime, but like anime YouTube as a whole. Actually, no, probably anime too. Because it was around the time that I left home. And I didn't watch a lot of anime till like years afterwards where I tried to catch up. But yeah, I think damn, like not that far off from when I stopped watching him. I guess this was the earlier content people were referencing. I guess this was post when I actually used to watch him, because a lot of the stuff that I remember him was just like simple tier videos of like him talking about My Hero Academia and stuff like that. It was like the like big shonens of the time. It was none of this stuff. But I do remember being less interested in his content when he was trying to like collab with a lot of like big time YouTubers. I think like the last video I actually watched of his, I think it was like a tier list of anime characters with like other content creators like Moist Critical and stuff like that. I don't remember. Not off the top of my head, but like, damn, I have nearly missed his whatever era you want to call this, the degenerate era, let's call it that.
Very not chill relationship with stepdaughter. Again, most people would think this is weird, but hentai clearly knows better.
He was already showing adult content to a 13+ audience, and giving them advice on how to find adult content online.
The reason why I bring it up here is because without putting text on the screen is nearly impossible to remember. Therefore, since the plot, and it's a goddamn plot, deep thematic and philosophical undertones here, I believe anyone who wanted to search this bad boy up without said title, because I was a douche for not putting it on screen, would just simply look up time stop hentai. Far easier than very understandable. A lot of y'all sent me screenshots on Twitter, link to my Twitter in the description, of the top recommended searches on the hub of prawn. And lo and behold, much to my surprise, WTF fanbase, one of the top hits is Time Stop Hentai. And it stayed like that for 3 goddamn days immediately after me uploading my biggest flexes in hentai video. Now that is the biggest flex in hentai.
At the time, these videos earned him a massive amount of attention. The first video got 500,000 views, and its many sequels were even more successful, with the whole series garnering a total of 5 million views. One of them was even sponsored by an adult game platform. Because these videos were far more TOS risky than his usual content, Nux Taku would soon delete them after uploading to avoid moderation consequences.
The greatest plots in hentai 2! Yes, this video will be deleted soon after uploading for the sake of my channel's survival, but a promise is a promise. So, yippee, here we go. 50,000 likes and the greatest plots in hentai 3 will be out eventually.
In reality, he didn't actually delete them. He set them to private, and at a later date, he set them to unlisted, meaning that anyone with a link could see them. I actually managed to find these videos quite some time ago. I archived them, and Nux Taku can tell you the rest. Only one of them remains unlisted. Go check it out. If it has gone private, it confirms that Nux Taku knows about this video. After the success of this hentai video series, it soon became the core focus of Nux's content for years to come. By December 2019, he reached 1 million subscribers. In 2020, he was collaborating with some of the biggest creators on the platform and filming their reactions to adult animations or comics, often involving characters of a questionable age.
There is an asshole door, so it's a woman with her ass out, and this one's like an anal. And Ash Ketchum is well, at least a young Ash Ketchum seems to be approaching it.
Oh no.
Okay, so earlier I mentioned that Nux stole his like avatar, like the Sans Red X thing, from another artist. I wanted to make sure I was actually right about that. And yeah, I feel vindicated. So we have this post. So this was, someone put in this out here in 2023. Man, every time I think that I've forgotten about this guy, I then see YouTube suggesting his videos to me. And yes, it's the YouTuber who edited my old Sans drawing and made it their persona, Lamau. Upper right pick, his previous icon. Lower right pick, my Sans fan art. Disclaimer, I'm not saying their content is bad or anything. I haven't seen any of the videos. I'm posting this because knowing that he gets compliments on his persona design leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Also, I knew about a year ago already, but didn't approach him because I didn't know exactly what to say. Oh, and from the looks of it, he already has commissioned other artists to make fan art of his persona. So yeah, he just stole someone else's work, and then this person around the same time this person made this post literally came out and was like, yeah, I'm the original artist for the fan art, and yes, he did use my art without permission way back then. I made the post on my Facebook about a year ago because his videos kept on getting recommended to me and I wanted to hear what my friends think I should do. I did finally want to at least do something about it, so I did try to contact him via email and got no response. I did consider the fact that some human fan designs look very similar, and maybe he just so happened to choose my fan art in particular, and by the time I contacted him, he changed his design a bit already, so I wasn't sure my work needed crediting all by this point. Okay, so it seems like all he did was just edit a red X mask onto it. But yeah, definitely stole someone's art. Just add it onto the pile of the bad stuff he's done already.
And he uses what's called the fist dash, it seemed, to gain entry.
Oh, wow. Is this made for you?
Yeah, I think it's gone now. So now he sprayed her with the spray of doom.
Oh no. She's quivering.
Oh my god.
What? I didn't experience that, no.
Given his size as a creator, Moist Critical actually appeared in Nux Taku's videos surprisingly frequently. He used to be a part of something Nux Taku called the Hentai Gang, and they would react to various hentai clips together.
Oh god, this is good stuff. We got full color, snuff, guro, torture, amputee. All the wholesome tag.
Sounds good, let me see that shit.
Nux Taku also deployed
Jesus
a very
Christ, Charlie.
aggressive clickbait strategy. Showing some bikini ladies wasn't enough. He needed cropped hentai, bestiality, and lolly. Despite having displayed this content in his videos and thumbnails for years, Nux Taku has consistently denied being into it, but he also claims he doesn't believe enjoying it makes you a pedophile.
There are 3 levels here, okay? There's lollies, which I have absolutely nothing against. I don't think anyone has anything against lollies, okay? Like Chibidoki or Megumin from Konosuba or Gura. Nothing has anything against lollies. It's lolly that's the gray zone.
Nux Taku would begin to signal anti-lolicon sentiments in 2022, causing drama between him and Rev Says Desu.
They couldn't believe the guy who has used lolly-related content in his thumbnails, videos, and the same guy who has openly befriended lolicons, followed and praised lolicons on Twitter, could be making such a statement under glaring hypocrisy.
I don't like Rev, but they are making a sound point.
Have you seen your thumbnail? This thumbnail, lolly likers are pedos. This is in quotes, like it's something I actually said.
It's a pretty reasonable inference of your position based on the content of your tweet.
I did not say this. I didn't even say this a little. Not even a little. And this dude's like, oh, dude, we're gonna make this thumbnail. So, dude, when it comes to thumbnails, you can be quiet.
Instead of engaging, Nux Taku acts incredulous that how could someone possibly be saying this?
Then he goes on this whole rant. He's like, dude, you should have your legs broken then because you like lollies. See, you have Gura in the thumbnail. Like, dude, what is going on? What is going on? So, constantly taking me out of context, constantly making me look like a hypocrite for things that I've never been a hypocrite about.
Nux's response to Rev was set to private around the time of the post-Nux Clarity incident. Despite his history, in early 2024, Nux Taku had no problem calling Vosh a pedophile for flashing his lolly horse folder on stream for a couple seconds. Meanwhile, he had his own horse folder on his public YouTube channel. He also forgot to censor the contents of Vosh's folder in his coverage. Old habits die hard, I guess.
I am the one that gets canceled daily for being a gooner on Twitter, by the way. And I have never saved a porn image.
One of the more shocking images in Vosh's folder depicted a lolicon VTuber that Nux had reacted to.
16 is high school. No! Wait, high schoolers aren't lollies. I agree. Lollies are 1,000-year-old cum vampires. I agree. Yeah, great intro. Everyone, hey everyone, meet Natsuhiro Matsuri, extremely wholesome VTuber. Also, she likes talking about lollies. Nothing weird here at all. Oh god, this rabbit hole goes deep.
She just said she's into 10 to 12-year-olds, and Nux does not push back in any serious manner. He then proceeds to react to her content for 20 more minutes.
That was a great video, damn!
Nux clearly had no problem with lolly content, and he was happy to pander to lolicons for years. To return to Nux Taku's thumbnails, I've seen comments under some videos mention him changing them, but that early version has not been captured on the Wayback Machine. In the case of this thumbnail, there are low-resolution captures of the early versions, which depict a woman indulging in self-exploration. censored only by this incrementally growing emoji. Whenever these old thumbnails arouse controversy, Nux Taku goes to quietly censor them. He was clearly maximizing the amount of adult content he could show without getting in trouble with YouTube, and he would use various tricks to dodge demonetizations and age restrictions.
The word Shota is blacklisted on YouTube. When I made my video talking about the Shota thing, Shota trending on Twitter, I spelled it with a U, and it gets past the send. I took out the U, instantly demonetized. Added in the U, turns green again. Dude, I'm telling you, YouTube is run by idiots. Evil idiots, but idiots nonetheless.
He would use special characters in titles and euphemistically refer to adult content as being cultured or wholesome. If a parent saw a title like, "I showed cultured clips to normie YouTubers" in their child's browser history,
yeah, they're
it
not
would
gonna
hardly
fucking
stand.
know what that means. Again, it's just so funny, like, the same guy who was bitching about, like, hot tub streamers was openly trying to get around YouTube's fucking demonetization system so like kids could watch this. That's the thing, like, you would only do this sort of stuff if you were trying to get past this stuff. It's just insane. Because again, this was around the time that he was bitching about Twitch too. So it's like, how can you like complain about this stuff and go on to make a worse version of it that is like way more dangerous? Because like, yeah, there's definitely more that could be done to protect kids from like adult content, and really it literally has nothing to do with ID, even though that's seemingly what everyone's, like, every company's idea is like, oh no, just give us your ID.
Many of these videos originally had far more explicit titles, but Nux Taku has gone back to censor them later. There are also many videos that are no longer available. Nux Taku wasn't only exposing his audience to adult content, he was directing them to it. Leaving the titles of these adult animations visible on screen was not an oversight or an accident.
I love how people ask me for the sauce. I have the title in the screen, people. That's why I don't make them full screen, so you can always find the sauce.
The source, or the source, being the origin of the adult content. Whenever he showed porn in his videos or thumbnails, the comments were full of requests for the source. Some would name the artist or name the individual work. Others would even post direct links, most of which have been automatically deleted. Some of them still remain, linking to an image tagged with lolly and imminent rape, because Nux Taku used it in his thumbnail. Nux Taku would sometimes pin these source posts, encouraging these ecosystems of porn sharing in his comments. He's actually acknowledged this phenomenon in his videos.
Half my comment section in the previous episode of the Hentai Gang was all about, where can I find this door one?
Alright, so...
It really isn't hard to find.
Okay, Charlie.
Yeah, it's super easy to find if you just type in, like...
Very cool, Charlie.
Comes up almost immediately, because I didn't remember the name during the episode. That's all I typed in and found it in almost instantly.
Thanks for the instructions on how to find that hentai comic online. As you can see, talking about, exhibiting, and directing people to a...
you could take a look at a good chunk of my videos and be like, oh, this guy seems to have a problem with Charlie. I always try to give Charlie credit when he actually does something good. This makes me think way less of him as a person. Like, to me, he's always just been a perpetual fence sitter on a lot of issues that he, for some reason, wants to talk about. But at the end of the day, the fact that he willingly did multiple episodes of this, apparently, to the point where he was a part of the Hentai Gang, is... there's no way I could look at him the same way ever again. Jesus Christ.
Adult media was a core part of Nux's content and the community around it. Now, YouTube is again a 13+ website, just like Twitch. So, Nux Taku was making this content available to minors. But did it appeal to them? You've seen enough of his presentation to know that his audience was hardly above the age of 18. If you're putting on this kind of PewDiePie voice, you're not looking for an adult audience. Given his previous focus on anime, Nux Taku's audience would already trend towards being pretty young, but it wasn't young enough. He would imitate the thumbnail style of channels like Game Theory, which is very popular with children, and make lots of other content trying to attract MatPat's attention. He eventually succeeded and collaborated with not just MatPat, but also PewDiePie and Markiplier. Except he didn't. These are just misleading clickbait thumbnails. However, if you were a fan of one of these massive channels with very young audiences, and you were tricked into clicking on one of these videos, your recommendations would fill up with stuff like this. This combo of factors that would drive this content to a young audience would not be complete without Nux Taku's favorite rule. that being Rule 34.
And if you're not familiar with the term Rule 34, it's a term and website talking about how if anything exists, there is porn of it.
Nux Taku being obsessed with it is a meme by itself. He was making videos about Pokemon, anime, and other children's IPs while using Rule 34 of them as clickbait, or as the subject of the entire video. The most popular video on his second channel was a reaction to a viral Animal Crossing adult animation with very minimal censorship. There are small blurs around the genital areas, but you could still make out what's going on.
Now you got all these underage kids on TikTok doing the same. Obviously solo, but implication is there.
What implication? And what's funny about it? When this animation came out,
Implication. An implication of what? Like what kind of implication are you trying to make there? Is it like an Always Sunny implication? Because that's immediately what my mind goes to when he says that. Like, oh, well, the implication is there. It's just like, I don't think it is. I think you're the one who wants there to be an implication there.
it became a viral meme, and a bunch of kids on TikTok were, as Nux Taku says, doing the things or doing the dance. In other words, publishing media of themselves for anyone in the world to see, in which they are replicating moves from an adult animation they had been exposed to. Very understandably, some people considered this to be a risk to those children's safety.
This is currently the most concerning trend on TikTok.
Is it really the most concerning trend on TikTok? There's literally a trend right now.
If a sound on TikTok is going viral and everyone honestly kind of knows where it's from, like, and there are minors dance too, like that's a big fucking problem, and why there should be protections against this sort of stuff from like minors seeing it. Like, yeah, it's just a dance, but yeah, there is like some gross thing there, and Nux knows it too because he talks about the implication, but I don't know what implication he honestly was trying to mean there.
Called devious licks, where people break into schools or are in schools and steal stuff like hand sanitizer and fire alarms and toilet seats. They just rip them off the toilets. That is a trend on TikTok right now. But no, this is the most disturbing trend on TikTok. All right, dude.
What's worse? Children being at risk of being exploited, or children stealing toilet seats?
More and more TikTokers have started to recreate that dance, and it's got people concerned. Basically, a lot of people are afraid that the dance is going to get really popular, and kids are going to start coming on the app and doing it and get targeted by predators.
No one's afraid of that. All right, maybe I'm not around TikTok enough, and
yeah, I don't think Nux is afraid of that. I think he's excited by that. Jesus Christ. Like, to me, I don't think that, you know, we should demonize like adult creators all that much, because they're already demonized literally by like legal systems and shit like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, there should be better monetization for this sort of stuff. The only problem is that, like I mentioned beforehand, the companies behind all these like monetization strategies just go the exact wrong way, where it's just like, oh, give us your ID, give us all this and that. Or they just go the route of like extreme censorship, which I'm just not a fan of at all, because these platforms, it's a trigger road. And I'm not going to act like I have all the fucking answers to it. But yeah, like what Nux is doing is literally the opposite of just like, no, this stuff doesn't need protected. Despite the fact that he also thinks that with like Twitch and I guess society as a whole now. I don't know. This guy, it's really just, here's the problem, it's just a grift. That's the thing. Like when it comes to the Twitch stuff, when it comes to what he's doing now, it's all just a grift. And the problem with being a grifter is that when your personal preferences, when your personal opinion gets in the way of the grift, it allows you to easily be seen as a hypocrite. And everyone's a hypocrite in some sense. But when it's online, when there's like visible proof of the hypocrisy that anybody can see, that's when it's a problem.
I don't understand.
And I feel like this entire video is just showcasing that so far, even though we're not even halfway done with
I don't
it.
think that people are afraid of kids being targeted by predators because they're doing a dance. Okay? Kids are targeted by predators on TikTok for freaking breathing crooked. I don't think this dance is gonna push anyone over the edge, but that's just me.
Jesus Christ.
A child that is publicly self-reporting as having been exposed to adult content is absolutely more likely to be targeted. It means that their internet access is unrestricted and likely unsupervised. They're an easy target.
So if you happen to see any kids on your For You page doing this dance, please nicely encourage them to stop.
Nicely encourage them to stop is just sending hate mobs in nicer words.
This guy could be a total...
I mean, that I feel like says a lot about you. The fact that you think the only way you can interact with someone is just by saying like a hate mob or something, it's just so fucking weird. But like going back to what I was just talking about a little bit ago, I do think like YouTube Kids and stuff like that, like finding a way to like restrict certain content from like at least as an option of like, hey, I'm gonna go into the options, you know, setting like a kids mode or something like that. To me, that is a way better fix than what they're trying to do with like Discord. That's what I was trying to get across there. Like that, I think is a way better way to set it up. Obviously, there still comes with the problems like with like Mutahar's aunt or whatever of like there's just some platforms where parents aren't going to think that they need to do it. But again, that should be the responsibility of the parent and the adults around them to be like, hey, you should probably make sure this is put in place unless you want them to see stuff that maybe they shouldn't be seeing, even if it's on a platform that's seemingly safe like YouTube. But again, I think that's it's one of those tricky spots where like how much responsibility should the platform have? How much responsibility should the parents themselves has? Because again, I do think with certain platforms you can get too far to the point where it just comes off as complete censorship of people, you know, of like adult creators who are just trying to, you know, advertise themselves to adults and shit like that. Like how much can you censor that to where that's not even an option anymore?
Grifter in his own right, but nothing about what he's saying here should be controversial. It's basic, common sense, internet child safety.
Yeah.
But Nux Taku takes it as some existential threat, which makes sense when you think about what he's doing for 2 seconds. He's regularly uploading
He's like,
content.
stop trying to discourage my bottom line, all right? How am I supposed to get all these views if you're telling all these kids that they shouldn't be looking at hentai?
Sexualizing children's cartoon characters onto a 13+ platform. Characters designed to appeal to children and more likely to be recommended to
I'm probably
children.
going to speed this video up just because we're only 30 minutes in and I've been recording for over an hour now.
If you look at this video's comments, you see dozens of children explicitly reporting their ages, many of them being under 13. These are not adults pretending to be children as a joke. I've seen what's on their channels. They are uploading videos of themselves onto their channels and then leaving public comments under Nux Taku's videos for anyone in the world to see. There are thousands of comments like this scattered all over Nux Taku's backlog, some new, some old, but many of them are from children who are still minors. Nux Taku obviously doesn't directly control who watches his videos or what they upload onto their channels, but he was choosing to upload this content onto a 13+ platform where it was available to children. If you make content about sex and porn available to children, you're going to receive comments about sex and porn from children. If you look at the audience retention graph, you can see that barely anyone is watching this video for Nux Taku's commentary. All of the attention is hyper-focused on the segment where the adult animation is shown. Who do you think is watching it over and over again? Any adult could just go and watch the uncensored animation elsewhere. However, to the children who cannot access adult websites, this is the most easily available and the least censored version of the animation that they can find. Here is a comment from a child saying that they can't access the uncensored animation because of parental controls. This child's parents did not want them to be exposed to this kind of media, but Nux Taku's content enabled it to happen anyway. Nux Taku knows that YouTube doesn't want that content on its platform, and he was actively reverse engineering the site's moderation in order to continue uploading this content without getting age restricted. He was so successful at it that even if you enable restricted mode and the parental control filters, videos like this would still be visible on his channel. With the same video, where Nux Taku was shitting on this guy for caring too much about child safety, he was contributing to and profiting from all of the issues that the guy was raising awareness of.
Alright, Mr. Noah, I don't know you, and you seem like a decent man. John 3:16, my man. He's a man of the people. This dude, this absolute legend. I didn't even notice that before. Don't quote Bible verses in your bio, dude. What? John 3:16 is, for God so loved the world that he gave his own forgotten son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. All right, gamers. Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's hard for me to hear John 3:16 without thinking Austin 3:16 in the promo. Off topic, but jeez.
Alright, if I see that in the bio, I'm gonna... Alright, dude.
Fighting for God was not the moneymaker for Nux Taku at the time. The real moneymaker was running Rule 34 tournaments and networking with massive creators.
What I did today is I gathered 8 YouTubers, put them in a tournament bracket format, and had them battle it out, where they each select different fictional characters, and based on the amount of entries they have on Rule 34, they are stronger choices.
Not only are these videos just flagrant celebrations of degeneracy and hedonism,
You know what makes me really uncomfortable about this? Is the fact that we know that Nux is making this video while having a massive erection.
Yes! I mean, no.
they are entirely based around the promotion of an explicit adult website full of adult content of children's characters. The website appreciated the attention and promoted Nux Taku's videos in exchange.
My last video that I used Rule 34, they actually posted my video on the homepage of the website, so in their honor, you know.
If you want to do these competitions with your adult friends, that's totally fine. What isn't fine is uploading these competitions onto a 13+ platform in which you're promoting an adult website full of thousands of images sexualizing children's cartoon characters. Because of its animated nature, hentai is already much less intimidating to children than photographic adult content. If you're also using characters that are designed to appeal to children, are already familiar to children, and are attached to brands that the algorithm will push to children, you are basically maximizing the potential of your content to introduce.
I mean, we've seen multiple videos of his that have been shown so far where it's it's got Pokemon in the title. Like, if you're a child and you're like, man, I love Pokemon, and you're looking up like Pokemon content on YouTube, you're probably gonna find plenty of, Pokemon YouTubers, people playing Pokemon and shit like that. But you're also at risk of seeing this stuff. And maybe you're curious. It was like, oh, well, this isn't like gameplay or stuff like that. Like, oh, what's this like other Pokemon media? Let me check that out this video. And then you get exposed directly to the shit. Like, it is just a direct pipeline for stuff that children shouldn't really be seeing.
Use children to adult media at even younger ages. I have already shown that this was undeniably a function of Nux's content, but I can't say that it was his intent. However, I can demonstrate that it was absolutely undeniable that Nux Taku knew that children were watching his content. The descriptions of his videos used to explicitly label them as PG-13. This disclaimer can even be found on the Monkey Comic video. That is an explicit admission that Nux Taku was fine with 13-year-olds seeing this stuff, but we can do better. Months before the Monkey Comic video and the Animal Crossing video, Nux Taku saw one of his child fans with his own eyes. On October 31st of 2020, he requested his audience to email him the most cursed NSFW videos or memes for a chance to win $1,000. No limit on how horrible it is. Despite requesting NSFW content, the announcement does not list a minimum age, so Nux Taku was giving a financial incentive to minors to find the worst NSFW content they could. After a day, he'd already received thousands of submissions. He would review these submissions a month later in a video with Oompaville and Iramouse.
I've never even pondered the thought that we could have Lolly and Duro and Bondage all in one thing. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
Among those submissions was a video that one of Nux Taku's child fans had recorded of themselves.
Oh, what? Bro.
I don't even know what that was.
That was some kid just sent you a video of them shitting and then shooting a dog with a Nerf gun.
It would be really funny not to provide the full context.
Oh, what?
Bro. If you're scared of getting sued, this ain't the move.
That was some kid just sent you a video of them shitting and then shooting a dog with a Nerf gun.
Wait, what the fuck?
But I'll do so anyway.
I'm sorry, that guy's reaction just fucking got me. Like, I was like, yeah, exactly. What the fuck? I already didn't have a great opinion of this guy going into this stuff. Even as someone who used to be a fan of his content before this, Jesus Christ. Like, all I've known of him recently is that he's just been like Israel's biggest VTuber defender. Jesus Christ, this is so much worse. Oh my god, but look, you know what? If they ever catch him on charges, I guess Israel will take him in open arms if he's not already living there. Jesus Christ. I hate this. I hate this so much. Why did I watch this?
It's not CSAM. It's some little boy farting into their phone camera. Then they shoot at their dog with a Nerf gun. There's no nudity.
Thank God. Thank God. Alright, fine. So, I mean, it's still... Okay, weird. Whatever. That's a weird way to phrase that. To be like, oh, he... Like, when you say he shit, it's like, alright. Thank God. Thank God he didn't go that far.
And you can't even see their face. However, they are clearly a child, and based on the size of their hand, a very young one at that. There's also no sign of Nux Taku getting parental consent to publish this video. So he's published a video of someone's child without consent and mixed it in with a bunch of reactions to Lolly Bondage Guru comics.
Oh my god.
This competition was not a one-time thing. It was a whole series, and the total number of emails they received in the end was around 10,000. Whether he intends it or not, by showing this video, Nux Taku is signaling to the children in his audience that they are welcome to participate. In the rest of the series, Nux Taku shows lots of adult websites and links to them fully uncensored. Not only that, there are many instances in these videos where Nux Taku fails to hide the names of the people sending these emails. So he has solicited children to send him, and now he's boxing them to his audience. But that's besides the point here. Nux Taku absolutely knew that children were not only watching, but engaging with his content and his community. Did that cause him to reconsider his content decisions? No. A couple months later, he released a Twitch song.
He really is like the most incompetent YouTuber of all time, I feel. If it doesn't even cross your mind, like, oh hey, I have footage in this video where I'm literally showcasing the emails, like there's a bunch of emails about this entire like contest. Maybe I should just fucking blur their names. Like that doesn't even cross your mind for a second. It's like, God.
Then the Monkey Comic video, and then the Animal Crossing video. Not only did he not change, he began criticizing Twitch for exposing minors to adult content, despite exposing minors to far worse things. So there's a rough outline of the mass child mind poisoning machine that Nux Taku operated and made a ton of money from. We have already seen some of the community interactions in the comments of his videos, but that's only scratching the surface. Let's go back to 2019.
So the announcement portion of this video is as follows. My favorite of PewDiePie's videos are his Luai
Dude,
videos.
This stuff is making just Hub in general look like fucking softcore. Jesus Christ. Imagine like being so fat that you could be like on 1,000 pound, like whatever that show, 400-pound life or whatever, and then turning over to someone who has a bit of a gut to them and being like, you're too fat. That's essentially what Nux is doing, of being like, here children, look at all this degenerate shit, some of the most like heinous shit you should not be seeing in your life. Oh hey Twitch, stop showing girls in bikinis. Like, you have no room to talk, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Why even make this? Or if you're gonna make this stuff, why not, like, try to age restrict it on another platform? Like, find another platform to host this stuff on. Because, like, I can see some inherent value, or, like, some, not value, entertainment, and being like, hey, let's look at this gross stuff. But to openly do it when you know that children are watching, to me, like, that's, like, really gross stuff. Like, you could have done it on a separate platform where you could control who sees it and who doesn't, you know, age restricted, make sure only adults are seeing this stuff. But you didn't. And it seems like you literally went out of your way to make sure that anybody could see it, especially those who shouldn't be seeing it.
Where he gets to see how his community memes around his own content. I personally love that style video. How the community itself can come together, because it's not just the YouTuber or the YouTuber's content that's enjoyable, but it's the idea of this little community forming. So I am creating a Nux Taku subreddit, which will not be called Nux Taku because someone already made r/.
In another effort to imitate PewDiePie, in 2019, Nux Taku founded his own subreddit, r/Nux Taku submissions. Nowadays, it's a hentai dumping ground, but back then, it was full of memes about anime and children's cartoons.
Hey, stop touching weird places. Don't worry about it. It's flat anyway. Destruction 100. Ho ho ho. Huge roast there. That's like the ultimate hentai logic as well.
But this is Nux Taku we're talking about. So there were also posts about hentai. For several years, the Reddit had no moderation other than Nux Taku. And on one occasion in 2020, the Reddit was spammed full of hentai.
There were thousands, nay, tens of thousands of posts of Sakura hentai.
The Reddit was also not marked as 18+, and there was no minimum age listed in the rules.
Forgive me, Lord, but I did it. Please forgive me. Stop sending hentai. Why? I already lost. No, not November. Half of my class saw Aqua's butthole on my screen. To be fair, mad respect for sending Aqua's butthole. And your class should be thankful.
The OP of this post was 12 years old.
To be fair, mad respect for sending Aqua's butthole. And your class should be thankful.
They are literally talking about a class in that post. There is no reason not to assume they might be a minor. And had Nux Taku checked their profile when the screenshot was taken, he would have seen this comment. This child was not a one-time poster. Between October 2019 and August 2020, they made 160 posts to the Reddit. Many of them appear in Nux Taku's videos, sometimes back-to-back. So Nux Taku was profiting from their presence on the Reddit, and the attention he gave to their post would encourage them to continue engaging with his community. Some of their posts on the Reddit mention depression, some include hentai, and sometimes they would be sharing and requesting the source. In one of their earliest posts, they mentioned having gotten into weird kinky shit. In the comments of that post, they shared a story about having been molested. Quick reminder, Nux Taku made money from allowing this person to be present in his community. They had multiple very highly upvoted posts that made it into Nux's videos, and he would sometimes share multiple of them back-to-back in the same video. The only reason I'm comfortable drawing attention to this user is because the account has been abandoned for years. As far as I know, it was never banned. After going through all of their comments and posts, I was unable to find any connections to other social medias, so they should be anonymous. This was also not the only child present in the community. By doing a couple searches, you can find many others openly stating their age. Content creators exploiting the volunteer labor of their audience for content is nothing new, but those spaces have teams of moderators to keep the content age appropriate. When you have a community that includes minors, you would ideally be proactive and lean on the side of caution. As we can see from this announcement on Nux Taku's Discord from January 2022, moderation-wise, the Reddit was totally unattended for years. It doesn't matter whether Nux Taku knew that dozens of minors were openly posting, sharing, and talking about adult content on his Reddit with adult strangers. As the head of that community, he bears
I'm feeling more and more vindicated by saying that he is the most, like, wait, what did I say? By saying, like, he's the most, irresponsible. I don't think that's the exact word that I used, but I'm blanking on it right now. He is the most, like, irresponsible creator I've ever seen in my life. Like, literally everything that he is doing is literally just, like, bait for predators. It's like he's trying to, not even in the sense of, like, oh, I'm luring them in so I can expose them. Just like, hey, here you go. It would be like if you went out fishing, you put the bait on the hook, threw the line into the water, and then you just set the rod down and just walked away, not caring that if a fish got the bait, that it was gonna take the pole and just go crazy with it. You don't care. You're just like, whatever. Or like going camping with like your family and purposely leaving out a bunch of food. Just being like, I don't want to put this stuff away. And then when bears come to take the food, you're just like, I don't want to deal with these bears. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna leave my family here while they deal with the bears. Jesus fucking Christ.
responsibility for what he allows to happen in it. It was his responsibility to establish rules against this behavior and to enforce them. Even the most basic, common sense rule for an NSFW community was too much to ask. On December 30th of 2021, Nux Taku would launch his Discord server.
That's right, I opened a public Discord server. I swore to myself I would never do it because the degeneracy would be too much, and the degeneracy is already too much. So join that Discord server. It's a public server. It's open. 16 or older though, please?
I am happy that he has a minimum age rule this time, but setting it to 16 is a massive self-report that he is aware that a large chunk of his audience is underage. It's also highly questionable given his decision to launch the server with a set of NSFW channels, including an NSFW voice channel. To be honest, I was surprised that there were NSFW channels when the server rules said 16 and up, because NSFW is supposed to be 18 and up. I mean, if you already watch Nux, fair. To be clear, those channels were supposed to be only for adults. But given the state of Discord's age verification, setting a channel into NSFW mode doesn't really do anything to stop minors from accessing it. All they have to do is lie about their age to Discord. The channels were fortunately removed 6 days after the server was open to the public. The announcement of their removal does mention issues like minors sneaking in by lying about their age. However, the main reason was that having NSFW channels disqualified the server from Discord partnership. Some users protested. Nux's content already involved a lot of NSFW media, so why not allow people to post it in his community? A staff member responded that the age group of the Billies, that being the name of Nux Taku's fandom, wasn't appropriate for it. So even Nux Taku's Discord staff members knew that a large chunk of his audience were minors. The decision to have NSFW channels on the server was already questionable in the first place, but it becomes even more questionable when you remember that Nux Taku made that predator catfishing video months earlier.
I wanted to make this sort of an educational topic and bring light to an issue that's really big. There's a lot of predators on Discord. Like, a lot.
There's a lot of predators on Discord. Like, a lot.
How do you make a video raising awareness of Discord predators, but then set up a Discord server which will facilitate adult conversations between adults and minors? But hey, they deleted the NSFW channels quickly, so the problem is solved, right? Not necessarily. Nux Taku shouted out to Discord on December 28th on his Twitch, and December 30th on YouTube. His audience floods in, there's problems with minors showing up in the NSFW channels, and then they find out that having them at all would disqualify them from Discord partnership. Instead of wiping them out instantly, they announced they'll be deleted in 2 days. Why? So that people can pay their respects to a Discord goon channel? I saw a member of the council mention that the users on the NSFW channels set up their own fan NSFW server, which I have to guess the staff allowed them to promote on those channels. I can't confirm that since those channels are now gone, but I saw one user even in the general channel promoting their own NSFW server. So all of those minors who were lying about their age in the first place and accessing the NSFW channel on Nux's server would just get funneled to that fan server instead. Who was moderating it? Who knows? What age verification standards were they going to uphold, assuming the admins are not minors themselves, or even worse, adult predators? There's a lot of those on Discord apparently. I'd like to remind you at this point that Ava Chris Tyson's Discord server was private when the NSFW channels were open in 2018. It was closed when the server was open to the public in January 2019. In Tyson's case, the drama was about Lava.gs, Nathan, and apparently a handful of other minors being present on the server while it was private. The initial accusations made by Prison42 also included claims of Tyson grooming Lava.gs, but no evidence for that was ever found. The Discord just had NSFW content available to minors. By those standards, Nux Taku's Reddit was already way worse, and his Discord way worse 4 years after Tyson's Discord, when there was more of a general awareness of these issues. Tyson's server apparently still had sexual chats or juvenile banter after it went public, but looking at the kinds of terms that were frequently used on Nux's Discord, there was plenty of that to go around. If NSFW content was now banned from Nux Taku's Discord, how did they handle Nux Taku's NSFW content? If the thumbnails contained NSFW content, the staff members would remove their embeds. Darn Nux using blatantly NSFW thumbnails that stay in the Discord cache after he censors them. Some users would still post NSFW images from Nux's content or the content of his friends, and the staff, despite reacting to them, wouldn't delete them. God damn it, Nux, we're trying to keep the order. In a recent one, he used a thumbnail from an actual porn video. Ah, okay, so Nux again with the nip slip, I see. This is Pokemon-branded Lolly Bestiality in January 2022. According to the Wayback Machine, this thumbnail was left like this for months. This is on par with his idea to make Twitch streamers say the N-word. We removed the embed. Nux is pushing the limits, Lamau. What is he pushing the limits of? The thumbnail of his latest video. Then why he do it non-censored then? That's the big question. Here's a bigger question. If the age group of Nux's audience is too young for his Discord community to have NSFW channels, but most of the people on this server came from Nux's channel, why is the content of that channel too NSFW for the demographic of the Discord? Isn't this massively self-incriminating? Despite having this long history of running communities where minors were exposed to adult content, and that being the very core of his YouTube content for years, in 2024, Nux
it's honestly breaking my brain. Fucking hell, like obviously they did what they did with the Discord because they were worried about like partnership stuff, like they mentioned before. Like, oh my god, like I am so fucking glad I was not around for this stuff. Jesus Christ. Like, it's breaking my fucking brain because it's just so fucking much. Like, especially when this all started with like, you know, Nick mentioning that Nux has been going on like this years-long campaign of being like, we gotta get rid of this degeneracy, this hedonism, we gotta get these titty streamers off of Twitch, to turn around and do like shit like that. Oh my god, like I still can't get over that, like the blatant hypocrisy. At the same time that he's complaining about all this shit, he's doing all this shit. He's like showing this shit to minors. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, oh my, like I've been saying multiple times during this video, like, I don't believe in the full like censorship options that a lot of these sites have been going in, especially with like the requirement for ID, because it's just so unfucking necessary, especially because it's really just a problem with like these websites not doing their due diligence and trying to come off with lazy options that do nothing for their consumer base other than just make the experience overall worse. Like, I mean, it's the same problem with like porn sites that tend to get banned, because whether it's due to the state that you're in, the requirement to give these sites like your information, like, or like show them a picture of your ID, and it's not really for protection of children. They say that's what it's for, but it's not. It's just a way for them to censor more of this content. They don't actually care about, you know, protecting children. These are the same people in power who just are trying to do as little as they can with the Epstein files. So I don't think they actually give a fuck about children. It's just a way, slowly but surely, turn out more censorship on these platforms.
Taku wasn't only criticizing, but grandstanding over Ava Chris Tyson. He was also putting lollipetality into his content before and after he was supposed to confront Shadman for drawing lollipetality on September 30th of 2021. However, Nux Taku's numerous lies about his association with Shadman is something for a different video. There's also the V Shoujo drama to cover, which lots of people think he was in the right about. Yeah. That is not the case at all. But
this is probably the first thing I remember hearing about Nux Taku after not seeing his content for like a few years. Like, I remember, I think it was like a few years back, I was interested in seeing like what he was up to in terms of content, and I remember seeing people talk about like whatever drama he was in with V Shoujo, and I still don't know like a lot about it. I had a friend who knew somewhat about it because he also used to watch Nux, and even told me he was just like, yeah, at a certain point it just got really bad and shit like that. But he never went into detail about it. But all I know is that it involved like certain people's like getting doxxed or whatever.
Again, different video. It's a real shame because what I'm going to reveal next is likely going to kill his career. Not to imply what I presented earlier isn't already bad enough, but this is just beyond
Jesus
forgiveness.
Christ, like, yeah, if all this stuff isn't a career killer at this point, I don't know like how much worse you could get.
You see, there is another Nux Taku Discord server, even older than his subreddit.
Fucking hell.
Saw an ad for it, which made me very intrigued.
All patrons are invited to the Discord server where we hang out having a great time, and unlike Tumblr, we have an NSFW section.
Yeah, this is really funny, saying they not like us to Ava Chris Tyson when you are in the they. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, dude, you're in the they right now. Might as well be non-binary because you're all they.
Welcome to the Nexus, Nux Taku's Patreon Discord, founded in April of 2018. In its current state, the server is almost totally inactive, but the NSFW channel is still here. Despite having an NSFW channel, the server's rules mention nothing about a minimum age, and there is nothing about it being 18+ on the Patreon side either. What's special about this community is Nux's level of engagement. He wasn't talking to people on his Reddit, and he kept the interactions on the public Discord to a minimum. However, on the Patreon Discord, at least in 2018-2019, he would actually talk to people, and even hang out in voice chats with them. Here we can actually see him talking with the artist behind his 2019 character. The original high-resolution files are here as well. This one, where Nux is rubbing his hands, has the file name nux_merchant.png. Very interesting. The NSFW channel wasn't there from the start. We can trace its creation to this exchange from October 15th, 2018, where we can see this user, who from now on will be called Red, repeatedly asking Nux to create it. If we look at the time and date of these messages, the NSFW channel was made 2 minutes later. In response to this, Red raised their Patreon pledge, and Nux gave them a thumbs up. For a brief moment, let me take you to August of 2024. Nux Taku is finally being pressed about his past content, and he was actually pushed into making a response.
The biggest shock to me to this day entering the broader commentary sphere was the dangers lurking around every corner in regards to children. Children are not safe on the internet. I only became chronically online after high school, but I couldn't imagine what it would do to me if I was in some YouTuber's Discord server at the age of 12 or 14.
You couldn't imagine. You don't need to. Red joined the server on September 7th. On day 1, they openly declared themselves to be 14 years old. They would later claim to be 15 multiple times, but as they openly stated, they were lying about their age. Red was born in 2004. They had turned 14 soon before they joined the server. The Discord was a pretty small clique, and soon enough, basically everyone on the server knew that Red was underage. Despite this, Nux Taku made the NSFW channel for them a month later, and within a year, they had posted 242 messages on the channel. There's also an instance where another user pinged Red into the NSFW channel. As far as I can tell, this behavior was not punished. So a 14-year-old paid Nux Taku money to be on his Patreon Discord server. He made the NSFW channel for them, after which he accepted even more money from them, and allowed them to post onto that channel for over a year before they left the server. But did Nux Taku know that Red was underage? There is no message of Nux acknowledging Red's age. However, it is extremely unlikely that he didn't know. In this conversation from earlier, where Red says they're lying about their age, Nux Taku shows up soon afterwards. In this conversation, there's some kind of an ERP going on in the general chat, which is interrupted by Red. Red is told not to get involved because they're underage. After Red says the conversation is making them gag, another user jokes, "Oh no, we better stop if we are gagging a minor." Red pinged Nux Taku soon afterwards, but Nux didn't show up. This is Mintheus Mouselord, or Mitochondria, or Mito. According to Nux Taku, they were the best poster on the NSFW channel. In this conversation about BDSM, we can see Red asking Mito to send their presentation on sex toys to other users. Note, I just made the presentation because Red was clueless. After Bex mentions having a high tolerance to weirdness, Nux shows up to say, "Proud fanbase." Gremmen asks Mito to send the presentation to Nux. I think that Red already sent it to him. No, I told ya. Never sent it, but I can now. What are we sending me? A sex toy presentation. Why? Lol. We needed to explain sex toys to Red. Nah, it's fine if it's not sent to Nux. Already did, Mito. I'm not doing honest descriptions on all Mito sex toys. A few minutes later at 2:16, Nux says, "Very cool, Mito, very cool." Nux Taku has now received a direct message from a minor on his server, containing a link to a sex toy presentation that was made for them. What adult is clueless about sex toys? That's a massive red flag that Red is a minor. There was
I want to scream so bad, but I don't want to annoy my neighbors more than I'm probably already annoying them. What the fuck? This is just getting so much worse than I already thought it was going to be. Because again, I knew about like the minor in the NSFW server and shit like that. Again, I knew like the bare bones, you know, general context of this stuff because I saw people talking about it on Twitter. But like, the fact that all of this stuff is so like public and blatant is just so fucking like going back to the Patreon, I believe they even like Nick even showed like, oh no, it's $1. It's so easy just to get into the server. So you can't even really say it's that hidden or it's that hard to get into. Like, geez, it being this out in the open is crazy. And like there's really no excuse for Nux. Like there's nothing he can hide behind it because either he is complacent in this, and again, there's probably more evidence that we'll see in the next 25 minutes to showcase that, or he's just an idiot.
The previous time a month earlier, when users in the voice chat text channel begged Nux Taku to join the VC because they needed help explaining sex toys to Red. Again, what adult doesn't know what sex toys are? In this example, Nux Taku declined the invitation to join the VC, but he absolutely was in voice chats with Red multiple times. One of my agents reached out to Red and asked him about their time on the server. They were willing to share their DMs with Nux to show that they did actually send him the sex toy presentation, so that actually happened. It wasn't just a joke. When asked about whether they were ever in voice chats with Nux Taku, Red recalled being in a VC with him plenty of times, a couple of times a week. They'd be surprised if Nux didn't notice them being underage, since everyone else did. However, they don't recall Nux ever commenting on their age. Now, I am not a journalist. I'm just a guy on the internet. However, I know you're not supposed to take one person's word and just run with it. Red could be misremembering, they might have some bias for or against Nux Taku, so it's important to have corroborating evidence. On December 15, 2018, Nux Taku pinged a deleted user to a VC. Red says Nux is in VC, everyone flood, implying they joined the voice channel with Nux. There's a similar message from January 15, 2019. If we scroll down a bit, we can see a screenshot showing Nux in the VC with Red. The real Nux Taku here is the real Nux Taku. Here's another screenshot from the time. Same name, same avatar. The current music channel used to be the old voice text channel, and on it we can sometimes see Red and Nux posting things close to each other that only make sense if they were in the VC at the same time. Here, for example, Nux is working on a thumbnail. There's a message from Red, messages from Nux Taku, and then a message from Red. An hour later, messages from Nux Taku. In this one, we have a message from Red addressing Nux. Later, a photo from Nux, then a photo from Red. In this instance, Red asks somebody to join the VC. Another user posts a caked up Charizard. Nux Taku shows a work-in-progress thumbnail. Message from Red, the Charizard from earlier is now on Nux's thumbnail. There's plenty of evidence of Red speaking, having audio issues, and other users commenting about their voice. So it's not like they never talked in the VC. I think this evidence sufficiently corroborates Red's recollection that they were in the VCs with Nux Taku multiple times. I'm not sure about a couple times a week, but certainly multiple times. Red was already behaving in a pretty immature way, even in the text messages. They would spam emojis and walls of text. To believe that Nux Taku didn't know Red's age, you'd have to believe he missed all of the instances when their age was mentioned. You'd have to believe no one told him Red was a minor in chats, VCs, or
It's a lot like that, that Discord, not the Discord, the Reddit mod, the one who like fell for a scam and he got removed as a moderator from like LSF. Like the only options that are in front of you when it comes to what landed you in this position is either You're just incompetent. Oh, wait, that was the word I was thinking about. You're just incompetent, where in the Reddit mod's case, you ignored all the red flags. And with Nux, it's you didn't notice that this one user was obviously a minor, despite the fact that a lot of people were bringing it up, and you could clearly hear the person's voice in these video chats that you were in, and didn't think for a second, like, oh, maybe this person's underage, and tried to investigate a bit. Or you knew all along and you just went along with it. With the Reddit mod, you knew it was a scam. With Nux, you know this person is underage, they shouldn't be in this server, and you still allow them to be.
DMs, and that Nux didn't realize it from their voice when talking to them in VCs. This should already be enough to strongly conclude that Nux Taku knew. But to show the full extent of the evidence and the full extent of Nux Taku's beyond incomprehensible neglect, we need to introduce a new character. After joining the server, Red quickly made friends with another user called Alan Weebers. I know that Alan's avatar here looks an awful lot like Mr. Obvious from my engineer video, but they are not the same person. Alan was a small anime creator at the time and would promote his videos on Nux's Discord. The metadata of his channel reveals that he is from Romania, and he would often mention things about it on the server. There's a lot of conversations between them and Nux Taku on the server, and Nux has mentioned Alan's name 100 times. He even shouted out Alan's channel in a video from October 22nd, 2018.
All patrons are invited to the Discord server, where we do things like make fun of Alan Weebus. If you don't know who Alan Weebus is, oh, trust me, $1 to the Patreon is worth it to meet the guy. He's in a special kind of category where everyone that relates to him in any way is a tsundere, because we all constantly make fun of him and make believe we hate him, but we all low-key like him. And also, thank you, Alan Weebus, for donating $10 on Patreon, so now I get to shout you out in all my videos. Link to Alan Weebus' channel is actually in the description. He makes funny shiz, and he takes the edge out of edgy, which leaves you just why? Like, why is he making this video? That kind of thing. Anyway, special thanks to King Beat My Meat Sage.
Alan was a very major contributor to the NSFW channel. However, according to Nux, they were still inferior to Mitochondria. He apparently got his material from following more than 300 hentai artists on Twitter. But that's only a third of the amount that Tectone was following. Alan has made a lot of claims about their age, including saying that he was as young as 15. Plenty of users,
actually,
including Nux Taku.
Never mind, I retract that statement immediately. Don't step your game up. Seek help.
Stop it. Get some help.
Have also claimed Alan to be underage. Alan is a lolly, no can do. Alan is underage. Does that mean Nux is grooming Alan? What's going on here? According to Red's recollection, Alan was around 19 at the time. In this tweet, they claim to be 19 in 2019. So if they're telling the truth here, they would have been 18. Another former member believed Alan to be around 21. According to Red's recollection, no one on the server genuinely believed Alan was underage. These statements about Nux grooming Alan or Nux calling Alan a lolly are simply jokes. Very optically bad jokes, but jokes nonetheless. While I'm not sure about Alan's exact age, they were clearly an adult. Alan has unfortunately deleted their Discord account, which makes it hard to determine which messages are his. But we can still tell if it's him talking thanks to context clues. Here Nux Taku mentions that Megumin from Konosuba is best girl. Alan points out that she is 14 years old. Another deleted user, who I assume is Sak, asks Alan about another character called Tiger. There's two deleted users talking here, so how can we tell them apart? Alan must be one of them because their name is mentioned. So this one must be Sak. One of them mentions the age of consent in Romania being 15, so that must be Alan. Sak uses capitalization, while Alan doesn't. That's how we know that it was Alan who said, "Who cares? If she can count, then she ready to mount."
This is Hassan taking more shots at Nux Taku in his week-long feud with me while defending his bro tips past. All right, I never brought up his bro tips past because I felt like it was so long ago, it's not worth it. But he's bringing up like random shit from forever ago and warping it into calling me a pedophile for insane reasons. Did you know that in his bro tips past, he had a famous quote where he said, "If she's old enough to count, she's old enough to mount"?
Come back again next week when we discuss the legendary question of all time. Old enough to count, old enough to mount? Question mark?
If that's not pedophile behavior, I don't know what is.
When Hassan said that in 2013, he was playing a character, and he was asking it, not flat out stating it like Alan did. We can see Nux Taku.
Yeah, like it's very obviously he's supposed to be like a parody, a caricature. And I have heard him talk about this stuff in the past, and that's why it's like so fucking insane to like bring up that shit. Like there will be sincerely people who will bring that stuff up, and it's like the worst you can say about it is that it's just bad comedy. That's the thing. It's just like not good. Like because literally in that clip, he's obviously just playing a character because the text literally afterwards shows like, no, it's not okay. Making it very obvious that none of this is supposed to be taken seriously. It's just supposed to be like shock humor or whatever. But with Nux, it's not that because he is showcasing this stuff and he is promoting this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's not the same thing at all.
But here, not condemning those words at all. So he either used to not care about pedophile behavior, didn't think that it was pedophile behavior, or his attack on Hassan is knowingly deceitful. There's a difference between waifu and best girl. Waifus are mountable, so therefore the best girl isn't. However, the art of the best girl is lolly inclusive. Nux is using that word in the petite anime character sense, not the cartoon CP sense. Nux's stance on personally not being into lolly hentai has been consistent for years, but it didn't stop him from posting it onto YouTube. Then Alan says, "Lollies are very mountable." Nux Taku responds, "You're terrifying, Alan," and moves on. This was 12 days before Nux gave Alan that shout out on his channel, so Alan saying things like this didn't seem to be a problem to him.
And he takes the edge out of edgy.
Look at this art. This art is better, and it's Alan posting a comic about some boy kissing his dog. I wish I would be able to get sick from stuff like this again. By the way, don't ask why do I have that. Why do you have that? Red sent it to me. He always sends me fucked up shit like this. That guy's a sociopath, I tell ya. Red shows up and claims Alan is the one who sent it, and shows a screenshot from their DMs. Wow, you resort to Photoshop to make me look bad? Shame. Red shares another screenshot, showing some of Alan's earlier messages. People have no shame, shake my head. Also, I hope someone at school sees you watching this. Is that Minecraft? Yes, I'm 15. Deal with it. Oof, I feel old. He's literally the youngest guy here. I am the youngest? Oh, he is. Makes sense. Yep, Red is 15-year-olds personified. Ha, I'm still underage. So, because you're talking to me, you are all technically pedophiles. Not me. Yup, yeah. Remember, the age of consent in Romania is 15, so I can smack your ass all I want. It's only been 26 minutes since the last time Alan brought up the Romanian age of consent. Alan would make similarly inappropriate comments about Red on the 16th of December. But let's return to October 8th. You are willing to send me the most fucking disgusting shit you have. I only sent it to you because...
Dude, nobody loves to talk about the age of consent more than pedophiles, honestly. Like, it's their favorite topic. Like, the same people who were, like, defending Dr. Disrespect when that whole thing got exposed. Like, literally, I remember there was a video that I made that I deleted just because, like, it wasn't about the main. Like, you could actually still see the video where I talk about the Dr. Disrespect stuff, and it's just flooded with people just saying the grossest stuff. Especially when it comes to, like, the age of consent. It is, like, anyone who regularly talks about age of consent, especially in these issues, needs to be like heavily investigated.
As you're 15. Exactly. Nobody else would. I initially planned to traumatize you because you were acting tough, but I underestimated you. Who, me? I'm not tough. I guess edgy instead of tough. I am edgy. Not that tough though. Yeah, I got that. I need to train you to become tough. Okay. At this point, Nux Taku or moderators should be intervening and investigating what's happening in the DMs between Alan and Red. However, there wouldn't be any moderators or rules on the server until 2020. In late 2019, the server was raided by gore spammers multiple times, and Nux Taku did nothing about it. What finally made him appoint moderators is when his patrons pulled their pledges. This is one of his own newly appointed moderators saying it at the time. According to Red, on the first day they joined the server, Alan spammed their DMs with a bunch of gore and NSFW content. There are multiple instances of Red or Alan publicly mentioning Alan sending gore to Red. Here's one from October 6th. On October 14th, Alan mentioned showing his personal collection to Red. On January 1st, 2019, Alan actually posted a gore image into the voice chat channel and pinged Red. In February 2019, Red reacted to a meme by saying, I can take pictures of men's penises being cut in half, but this is too much even for me. It was a gif and just a tip. Yeah, for dramatic effect, Alan, shake my head. The message below contains nudity, and if we go one message further, we can see a message from Nux Taku. Alan having a fascination with gore seemed to be pretty well known on the server. One regular user made this meme about the various quirks of the other regular members. Alan's comedic summary was, posting extreme pics. Notice that Nux Taku was pinged on this message. Sending this kind of material to a minor is very harmful and a crime, and it's been going on for 5 months, and Nux Taku has done nothing. Red would sometimes ask Alan to send him things. Send me the most fucked up shit you have. Look for it yourself. I want my friend to know you are worse than the dark web. Soyboy here is another adult user and also a small anime creator. He already knows that Red is underage. Despite this, he asks Red if he can send them something truly disturbing. Okay, Soy, send it to me. See? Come on. I expected at least nugget. If you don't know what that word means, don't look it up. Alan proceeds to drop...
I'm just gonna say this now. I do know what nugget means, and not from my own free will. The only reason I know what that means is because a coworker who I used to go to high school with decided for some reason to bring it up. As a joke, but even then, as soon as he told me what it is, I just stopped talking to him for like the entire day, because I was just like, why?
Codes to some extremely obscene comics. Thanks, Alan. Soy, I am extremely disappointed. Red, you scare me. That is actual animal rape and murder. I know. How is that not the most fucked up thing? Alan sent me a video of a man getting his head off by a machete. Real life, of course. Nux Taku was pinged about something off topic immediately after that message, but he didn't show up. After getting Nux Taku to create the NSFW channel, Red suggested making a Not Safe for Life channel for Alan, to which Alan said, I wouldn't make Nux Taku watch something like that. You, on the other hand, can get it. Nux Taku's nowhere to be seen, but then Soyboy mentions Toei Animation claiming one of his videos. Nux Taku replies to him with advice, once again showing how close he was to seeing these warning signs. Beyond conditioning Red into tolerating extremely shocking and obscene imagery, Alan also encouraged them to drop out of school. On Tuesday, October 9th, Red mentions skipping school to binge watch anime. Alan cheers them on and says that skipping school is badass, and that he's doing it as well, because he's a badass like Red. On October 10th, Nux Taku pings various users, including Red, to inform them that he finished reading the Black Clover manga all in one day. School got cancelled for the rest of the week for me because the head teacher got so I shall be around lots. Words like head teacher and school are used by children, not college students. Another clear red flag that Red is a minor, right in Nux's face. What? Go to sleep, kid. Another clear indication that Red is a minor. Yeah, lol, 176 chapters in a day. This is 5 days before Red got Nux Taku to create the NSFW channel. If you're worried about that stabbing story, it's something that Red made up at the time. On Thursday, October 11th, Red mentions having skipped 4 days of school to binge anime. Another user cheers him on. School is a waste of time. On Monday, October 15th, Red thinks about joining a VC because there's a lot of people on, but he says that school starts in 30 minutes. Alan once again encourages Red to skip school. On Thursday, October 18th, Red asks Alan for advice on how to lie to their parents to get out of school. Anyone here a good liar? Alan makes multiple suggestions. On October 30th, Red pinged Alan because he wants to speak to someone that he trusts. Red mentions having the problem of no longer going to school. Alan asks if they quit like a badass mad lad, once again encouraging Red to drop out of school. On December 9th, Violet asks, "Are you guys students or out of school?" Alan says he and Red dropped out. Red says that Alan inspired him. On January 4th, 2019, Red once again says he quit school. He doesn't care about it anymore. On April 10th, 2019, Red described themselves as a 15-year-old dropout. Alan shows up and says, "Agreed," and that's coming from an older dropout. So how did Red manage to drop out of school? Let's go to February 2019. Red is talking to Bex, who seems to be having some form of breakdown.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I need to add some commentary to this because I just don't want to like purely like take this guy's content, especially because like this is like obviously really good research that he's doing, piecing this all together. But like, what can you say? What can you say to any of this stuff? Like, it's just insanely gross. Like, I've seen some of the posts talking about Nux's response to this. No wonder he just like refuses to really engage with any of this stuff in any serious manner. Because like, how the fuck do you try to even slightly defend any of this shit? Like, again, it just falls to the whole thing that I said earlier, where it's just like either you're not responsible with your platform or you're just a moron. And putting, not responsible with your platform is lightly, this is, oh my god, this broke me. I'm gonna be honest, this fucking broke me. Even though like he hasn't really said anything, he's only just kind of been lurking, there should be enough evidence to like fucking search the servers, bro. Like search his fucking computers, man. Cause like if this is the stuff that you're letting slide, oh my god.
Down caused by opiate withdrawals. Many of Beck's messages actually mentioned them being addicted to drugs, spending all their money on drugs, and having various mental illnesses. Please keep that in mind when passing judgment about what I'm going to show next. I might be overly cautious here because YouTube does not like when certain things are discussed, such as SH. And in this exchange, knowing they're in the presence of a minor, Bex explains how it works and basically makes it sound really cool. Red mentions having used SH to manipulate their parents into letting them quit school. Really? That's impressive. Red expressed that they felt like a terrible person for doing it, how it felt, and they mentioned only doing it twice, to which Bex says, "Psh, imagine only doing it twice. I decided to stop before I couldn't." Real sad boys have on their thighs. Red then reveals that they put their upper arm a lot of times. Bex comments, "Ooh, nice." Again, this was a very irresponsible way to talk about these things with a minor. I don't have any experience or knowledge of how SH works, but Red claimed that this needle stuff apparently happened way before they joined the server, but they claimed that it was not enough to cause the effect, which makes SH addictive. Based on their comments from back then, there was clearly a unique sensation there, but again, I don't know for sure. Red claimed that the first time they did it for real was on October 31st, 2018. They had a fight with their family, which led to them dropping out. On the day before, Red asked Alan for advice on how to get over their fear.
This is literally like the worst shit you can say to a kid going through this shit. Like hyping them up to continue an act that is extremely harmful to them is some sick fucking shit. Oh my god. I hope like these people never know peace for the rest of their lives, and that's like the nicest thing I can say about this.
Of the pain of SH. I'm not sure if Alan is jokingly suggesting that Red should try flipping, as in juggling knives, or if he should try using a folding knife, and he used the word flipping by mistake. Red seemed to interpret it as a suggestion for a type of knife, and asks if he could use a kitchen knife. If you yourself, you'll realize the pain is pretty whatever. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. If we scroll down a bit, we can see the exchange where Red asked Alan to talk about the problem of no longer going to school. They hadn't actually dropped out yet, that would happen soon after the 31st, when the SH first occurred. Red would eventually develop an addiction to it. In February 2019, we can see Red mention that he talks to the least people in real life on the server. I have talked to 3 different people in real life in the last month. 5 months after joining the server, they've dropped out of school, they are self-harming, and they've become socially isolated. Despite Alan constantly behaving in an inappropriate, abusive, and downright criminal manner towards Red perceived him as trustworthy. Red saw Alan as a good friend, bestest friend, and the reason why they haven't committed. We have already established that the odds that Nux Taku didn't know that Red was a minor are super low. The further we looked, the more examples we saw of messages that must have been in Nux Taku's line of sight that would indicate to any reasonable person that Red is a minor, or that Alan is sending some weird stuff to him. Nux Taku...
Like, this makes Nux completely culpable. Like, even though he's not, like, actively participating in a lot of this stuff, like, again, like I said earlier, he's just passing by, seemingly. Dude, like, it doesn't matter if you knew this stuff and didn't care. It doesn't matter if you didn't know. You are comfortable for this shit. Like, you're just as responsible for these actions that this guy is. Like, yeah, Alan was actively doing it, but he was doing it on a platform that you provided to him to talk to this person, to talk to this minor.
It was also,
and I'm gonna be honest, to me, I don't believe for a second that there wasn't at least one person. At least one, like, was there not like one person who was just like, hey Nux, something's up with this. Like, this is getting too much. You should probably like step in and actually do something. Or like just being like, hey, this is a little weird. I think I should bring this to your attention just in case. Like, was there not one person in there who was just like, maybe this is getting a bit much?
So familiar with Alan. They've talked a lot, he's mentioned him lots of times, they hung out in VCs, and he gave Alan a shout out on his channel. But did Nux Taku know about the other part of Alan's reputation? Check this out. On January 16th of 2019, Alan posted a bait and switch video into the general chat channel. The thumbnail shows a naked woman, but when the video is played, it switches to a video containing stuff like this. Despite the warnings given by other members to not look at it, Red can be seen giving their reaction to the video. You can take that as a corroboration for my testimony of what the video is. Violet said that Alan should be banned. Nux Taku was then pinged because Alan did something bad. Nux shows up and says, wow, didn't see that one coming, and he then leaves. He took no action. He didn't delete the video or punish Alan or anything. Again, that was January of 2019. Nux Taku would still have Alan on the Rant Cafe podcast in July and August.
That was the podcast I was thinking of. Yeah, I remember. It was like him and two other guys. Sometimes they would bring on a guest. But this is like 2017 or maybe just 2018. I don't really remember the timeline of when I watched this videos, but I remember it was definitely within either those 2 years. Again, I don't fully remember. But yeah, Rant Cafe. I don't remember the other two dudes very well, but I remember watching Nux more so out of the other guys.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm the replacement for Animac forever. He's dead now. I killed him. So you're gonna have to get accustomed to my presence from now on.
Despite everything that was happening for months, Nux Taku publicly endorsed this guy and presented him to his audience as this harmless, funny troll guy. When I asked Red about these old messages concerning their personal situation at the time, they said it was the beginning of probably the darkest period in their life. The good news is that they stopped self-harming in 2021. They went into a dropout rehabilitation program, and they are now working on their university degree. To clarify some things, I reached out to Red because I saw their post on the Discord from years ago. They didn't reach out to me, no one tipped me off about them, I discovered them myself. I haven't conducted any in-depth interview with this person. I would just send them questions every now and then, and laid out this timeline and asked for their thoughts. They described it with the words, all of that is accurate to my knowledge. They don't remember anyone on the server really recommending them to seek help. When I asked about how they felt about Alan's behavior, they recognized that it was inappropriate towards a 14-year-old, but they don't believe he had any sexual grooming intention or meant what he was doing in that manner. They also mentioned Alan being very troubled at the time, which based on Alan's messages, assuming he isn't lying, seems to be true. Based on the logs I've shown, it's tempting to conclude that the influences that Red was exposed to through Nux Taku's unmoderated Patreon Discord server led to them dropping out of school at age 14 and getting into SH. The timeline laid out by the messages and by Red's testimony does support the idea, but to actually determine if that's the underlying reality would require further investigation. However, regardless of the actual consequences, allowing people to encourage or praise this kind of behavior in the first place is already insane. What is clear is that Red was repeatedly exposed to extremely obscene NSFW content and gore on the server, and that Nux Taku made the NSFW channel because Red requested it, and then accepted more money from them. If Nux Taku was too busy to moderate the server properly, it's not like he was totally unfamiliar with the concept of moderators. If he was, the 16th message on his Discord server was a user recommending him to designate moderators, to which Nux responded, indeed. One of the basic responsibilities of a Discord server operator is to make sure that children are not exposed to adult content on their server.
Okay, so this was one of the other creators who was part of like the Rant Cafe podcast, Anime Uproar. Yeah, I remember watching them as well, like back in the day too. Like they were one of the co-hosts. I guess the other co-host was like something called All Day Anime. What's weird is that like they still make videos. Like this podcast still makes videos. Like that's like oldest. Like they got videos from like 6 days ago. 13, still regularly putting out content. They still have All Day Anime and Nux Taku, or at least Nux Taku, on their list, despite the fact that he's not in any of these podcasts, I guess.
Allowing Red on the server and allowing them to be exposed to all of these harmful influences, based on my estimation, Nux Taku made $46. Not only did he fail to carry out that basic responsibility, he made money from neglecting it, something which would eventually become a core element of his success. If you remember, the Chris Tyson server closed its NSFW channel in January 2019, before the server went public. Nux Taku's Patreon NSFW channel is still open in 2026. There is no age verification process, and anyone with $1 can join in. The channel hasn't had a new post since 2024, but it was still active when Nux Taku was casting judgment on Eva Tyson. It's probably good to point out that Nux Taku and Eva Tyson were both born in 1996. Tyson in July and Nux Taku in February. Nux Taku is a few months older than Tyson, but he was making demonstrably worse mistakes at the same age, and continued to make those mistakes for years afterwards. There is no evidence for Tyson ever grooming anyone on the server, but her career was still destroyed by the controversy, something which Nux Taku cheered on. And with that, I conclude the first part of our dive into Nux Taku's history. In the next part, I'll show the dishonest ways in which he has defended his past content to his new religious right-wing audience, an audience that he's attracted by saying stuff like this.
Banning our books! They're firing. They're not banning your books. They just don't want them in schools teaching children and grooming them. There's a big difference between banning books and not wanting to show sexualized, pornographic, grooming material to kids. There's a big...
Apparently you do, though. You do want to show that stuff. Like, there is literally nothing. There's literally nothing. There is literally nothing in these books that these people want to ban that is even a small percentage close to what Nux was allowing on his Discord. Like, I went into this video being like, okay, another fucking content creator turned groomer, whatever the fuck. It's so much worse than I thought. It's so much, it makes what he preaches nowadays so... Like, I'm gonna be honest, I mean, this video is getting a good chunk of views. I mean, let's compare it to, like, what Nux usually gets in terms of his actual views. Because, like, if he was, like, a multi-million views per video creator, this probably isn't gonna do much. It's been doing enough to kind of keep him silent on this issue. I mean, it actually is doing pretty good compared to a lot of his other videos. A lot of his daily videos. I know this isn't the only one, though. This isn't his only channel. I know there's also Nuxanor. I know that's the one where he mostly just, like, it's just the one that he's mostly bitching about Hassan with. Or, jeez, the fact that this dude honestly was just like, yeah, I'm gonna become a politics streamer now is so fucking crazy. Okay, like, these ones actually get a good chunk of views. But even then, like, usually when it comes to, like, hit pieces like this, or, like, video essays about content creators, usually the damage done to their public perception is only relative to how much views the video actually gets. Like when I was talking about Andrew Callahan calling out what's the dumbass kid's name? The one who did the Minnesota fraud video, Nick Shirley. When Alex Callahan was calling out Nick Shirley for him, like, bitching about the interview that Andrew did with him, the video of Andrew, debunking what Nick was saying was not going to be as big, or even the interview with Andrew and Nick was nowhere near as big as the video of Nick Shirley exposing the fraud. So it didn't really impact his image all that much. All it really did was just point out to people who were already, not fans of Nick, to just kind of clip from the interview to show that he's a dumb guy. But at the end of the day, that wasn't going to be seen by a large chunk of people who saw the original video. But this one, I find it very hard for Nux to come back from this. Because the more this goes on and the more that he refuses to actually acknowledge it, the more people are just going to see. Like, I mean, even if people just kind of look him up, I mean, yeah, they'll find his videos, but then you'll find this one, the third one there. And people even talking about the allegations. Well, not allegations, the fucking proof that we've seen. Like, people talking about him is only going to show up more and more. So, I don't know.
Welcome, I'm Nikandros. This is Tech Time.
I have no idea how he'll come back from this. Let's just... I mean, there's not much left in the video, but we might as well watch the rest just to see.
Material to kids. There's a big difference, actually. This dude is like, I cannot believe they are banning our porn from the schools. All I want to do is show sissy, hypno, transgender porn to 7-year-olds, and society does not let me. All right, so you have the interracial gay couple. Those move. Raising a kid.
For your two biggest fans.
And this is a boy in a tiara and a skirt. I'm telling you, it's grooming. It's so obviously grooming. It's so obviously grooming, man.
Students growing up with free thoughts and with critical thinking and not being indoctrinated into their beliefs. That's the biggest fear of fascists. And
you literally have a pedophile flag on your shirt.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this?
Bitch, you literally have a pedophile flag in your background and you're wearing a nose ring. What are we talking about? Why would anyone ever take you seriously?
It's gonna be fun. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you enjoyed it.
It's hard to take a dude seriously talking about politics when he has a VTuber model.
Of course, congratulations on your 30th birthday, Nux Taku. See you later.
Okay, yeah, this video was great. It was... Jesus Christ, it was a lot. It was still very much a great video. I would definitely check out this guy's channel, subscribe, like, definitely. I mean, great presentation, but Jesus Christ, like all the... it was so much worse than I could have possibly thought. I don't know how to end this off other than just say, like, I already did not have a high opinion of Nux Taku just from what I've seen over the last few years of his right-wing pivot. I want to be someone who sees the brighter side and someone believes that people can truly change. But at a certain point, I feel like there's just a limit that someone hits where, like, or at least how you perceive someone. There's just a limit that person hits where you can no longer perceive them as ever being able to get better, become a better person. What can I even say? I'm just gonna have to leave it off here. See ya. Oh no, oh my god.